Hey everyone, how's it going? So we're back with some more Explorer and Pioneer content, and today we are playing some Rakdos Aggro. So this is Rakdos, but not in the kind of form that you might be used to seeing with the demons and the Unholy Annex and all of the rest of it. This is more of an aggro deck, so we are using new to the format from Aetherdrift, although I'm using an older version of the card's art, so that might be a little confusing. But this is in Aetherdrift. It's Bloodghast. It's 2 black for a 2/1 that can't block. It has haste as long as an opponent has 10 or less life, and it has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you may return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this is an innocuously powerful aggro card, just keeps coming back. Obviously, if you've succeeded in doing plenty of damage to your opponent already, it has haste and can attack straight away. And yeah, just a very, very hard threat for the opponent to deal with. Without exile-based removal, we'll be playing lots of lands. We're running the full 24 lands, despite this being an aggro deck. So yeah, Bloodghast, interesting addition to the format. So that's our new card of the day, as it were. And we got the rest of the aggro deck is quite interesting. So we are running 4 copies of Croxer, which is an unusually high number of copies of this card to be running. But it does synergize very nicely with the 4 copies of Overlord of the Balemerc. It does fill up the graveyard and allow us to potentially escape Croxer quicker than we would normally do. We are also doing other graveyard. We are getting cards in our graveyard with things like FOMO, Fear of Missing Out, Fable of the Mirror Breakers, second chapter, Liliana of the Veil. So hopefully we should be able to escape a Croxer relatively frequently. And even if we don't, duplicate copies aren't the worst thing because they just go straight to the graveyard, make the opponent discard a card. And potentially ping them for a little bit of damage as well. So yeah, we've got the combination of these two. Obviously, Overlord of the Balemerc is the one which mills 4 cards, then lets you return a creature or planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand. Very good to come down as a 2-drop. More often than not, will in fact be a 2-drop, so we can kind of pop it there. But in the late game, can play it directly as a 5-drop as well. Then in terms of our other spells, so we've got Fatal Push and Thoughtseize. As I've said before, you'll expect to see this in most black decks that we play. A little bit of additional removal with Torch the Tower as well, that we can sacrifice our blood tokens and the like to use its bargain ability if we absolutely have to. As already mentioned, Bloodghast. Obviously, we are running 4 copies of Fear of Missing Out, 4 Blood Tide Harvesters as well, and then our 3 drops are 2 copies of Liliana of the Veil, often a just targeted removal spell if the opponent only has 1 creature, and then Fable of the Mirror Breaker, very, very good red 3-drop. So yeah, as I say, this deck more often than not kind of taps out at 3 as the top end of the curve. Technically, there is a 5 there as well, so you can kind of see why it is an aggro deck, and Croxer can be a 4-drop if we are kind of bringing it back from the graveyard. So there are kind of alternative mana costs as well. Then in terms of the mana base, so we've got many dual lands as you'd expect. We are running none of the slow lands, but as many untapped black-red dual lands as we can. We're also running 3 copies of Restless Vent, which is a kind of compromise you have to make in this deck because it does enter tapped, but I think the ability to potentially create a menace creature that can can rummage and help us kind of fill up our graveyard and sculpt our hand is pretty good. A couple of basic lands, a couple of swamps and a mountain, and then a Hive of the Eye Tyrant and a Castle Lochthwain as well. Then in the sideboards, we've got another 2 copies of Torch the Tower, just very versatile removal spell, very good against cards like Is It Phoenix, Draft Digger's Cage, Graveyard Hate, Anti-Collected Company, Damping Sphere shutting down Lotus Fields mainly, Unlicensed Turf for some Graveyard Hate, same with Go Blank, obviously all targeting just the opponent's graveyard rather than our own. Brotherhood's End is our mass removal spell of choice. We're not running Anger of the Gods, just because Brotherhood's End is a little bit more versatile and also won't exile our Bloodghasts if we use it with our own creatures. Then we are running a couple of Monuments to Endurance in the sideboard, so we have played this before, but it is a new card that says whenever you 3 mana artifact, whenever you discard a card, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn, draw a card, create a treasure token, each opponent loses 3 life. As I said earlier, we do have a lot of our own discard outlets, so it's potentially a card which is worth considering. And then some more kind of top-end powerful spells for those grindier matchups. 3 copies of Invoke to spare, 5 mana sorcery, makes the opponent sacrifice a creature, enchantment, and planeswalker, and then we get cards if they can't do any of those. So yeah, Rakdos Aggro. As I say, slightly different to the traditional kind of mid-rangey Rakdos deck that we're used to seeing. So we'll see how this does in comparison to that. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And let's go on to the ladder. Okay, so you see here what I was talking about earlier. So, I mean, I think this is a fine hand, even with a couple of tap lands. Okay, Zeotora's Proving Grounds. The opponent's potentially running some kind of Jund deck. So I think let's get Fear of Missing Out down here. We can stick Croxer in the graveyard, get some value out of it. Yeah, Fable of the Mirror Breaker is fine. So, I think here, let's attack with Fear of Missing Out. So I imagine this is some sort of transmogrify deck, which does make me want to kind of chill on the removal because we won't be able to kill it out from under them. So I'll just play a Bloodghast. Because if they try and yeah, big score, so it could be some sort of creativity style deck, transmogrify. Okay, we can have a land. No blocks. Yeah, okay. Okay, maybe we should have just killed it there. Then they couldn't have created the treasure token. Yeah, that's a difficult one. I have to think about that. So I think Grafdigger's Cage can go in. Oh no, that doesn't work with creativity, I don't think. What does? Not very much, to be honest. I think we just have to hope that we can stop them doing it. I'll put in the more Torch the Towers, because they are actually quite good. I think I'll take out a couple of Blood Tithe Harvesters, sorcery speed removal. Although, actually, just removal of any kind is pretty good here. Yeah, trim a couple of Overlords. So yeah, creativity rather than transmogrify. Makes it a bit clearer what we're doing here. Yep, that's fine. Okay, an early Thoughtseize is going to be pretty good here. Okay, they have a pretty bad hand, so I think I'll just take their big score. It's not exactly the most threatening of... Okay, Thoughtseize of their own is a pretty good draw. So I'll follow that up with a Harvester. We're a little short of things to do here, so start ditching our duplicate lands. Okay, Croxer's pretty decent, so we'll get a card out of their hand. So they're kind of stuck here with... Okay, they now have removal for our Harvester if they so want it, but I will force them to use it, I think. Yep, shame it is exiled. So Harvester will pop another Croxer into play, which gets us 5 cards in the graveyard. So we're almost there with bringing it back again. Yeah, I mean, Bloodghast is okay here, I guess. It's a bit of a clock on the opponent. I'll keep the land, just in case I find a way of discarding it. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is a pretty good draw. Okay, that's good. So, okay, play Fear of Missing Out. Get that land into play now that Croxer has everything we need to be doing its thing. I mean, they might be able to, you know, if they drew land creativity here, they would be able to do their thing. So, okay. Well, we shall block. Ooh, very stressful. Well, Croxer can come out. Get that card out of their hand. Well, they did draw land creativity. Should have done that the other way around, actually, to get the double attack. But it was just interested to see what they had in their hand more than anything, to be honest. No creativity? Very good. Okay. Fine. Don't think we are changing much up here. Maybe we put in Go Blank on the draw, actually. Yeah, I quite like that. In exchange for Liliana. Just because we might be able to hit a couple of their better cards. Yeah, this hand's fine. The opponent keeping a 7, I'm not thrilled about, but it is what it is. Let's get one of our overlords down here, I think. Start that ticking away. Do I want Croxer back again? No, I will decline, I think, and leave it in the graveyard. Shame about the 2 torch to the towers. Tough going. This could potentially be if they have a creativity. Valgavoth in the bin. I will take the trade here, just get that off the battlefield. It's hard in a Rakdos deck to interact with artifacts, which is quite annoying, so I'll get Bloodghast in the graveyard. Okay, I like Thoughtseize. Let's have a sneaky peek in their hand. Nice. So yeah, they're kind of reliant on drawing what they need here, so we just have to hope they don't. So they can soak and Zan. Oh yeah, Beseiju, fine. Actually, let's get Swamp into play just because it gives us access to Fatal Push, which potentially might be good. Now, they're all in on drawing creativity here, and I don't have anything that can interact with it, so... You pays your money, you takes your chances. Okay. So, I think Croxer can come back. Start by attacking. Give us a treasure, which I may as well use to Fatal Push their reflection of Kiki Jiki here. Sure thing. Do I want to Overlord or Croxer? I think I will Overlord, actually, just because it potentially gets me more cards. I'm not hugely fussed about them. But I'll have another Bloodghast. That will go down to 1. Simply don't draw creativity, and we'll be having a great time. Still no? Good. Torch the tower helps. Start doing some attacks. I mean, we're now at the point where we could probably fight through a creativity, even if they did draw one, so I think that's a good place for us to be. Bring back another Bloodghast. Say go. We'll get another Overlord. Yes, they get 2 draw steps here. Ooh, Anger of the Gods, pretty good. Not enough, but pretty good. Okay, I kind of admire it. So, we'll send in the Overlord. Grab a Harvester. Escape 1 Croxer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Leave the creatures. So they go down to 1. They Fable. This has all been pretty spicy. Okay, there you are. When you're all in on a single card, if you don't draw it, can be tough. Yeah, we very much saw the power of the Bloodghasts in that third game, just constantly recycling themselves. It's a very good interaction. Kahira, so the opponent is on a control deck, which does make the fatal pushes a bit meh here, but I think we have FOMO to potentially discard them. No. No counter spells is good. I think I'm alright just taking Farewell here, because it's their graveyard hate. Double Bloodghast is pretty good, so they can march away one of them. It doesn't stop the other one coming back. Let's... We do fear missing out very much here. Rude. Never mind. Interesting that they're willing to use 2 removal spells. You sort of give up another removal spell to do that. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is a very good card to get out under a counter spell, because it'll give us double redraw with a push and a torch. Or do I just... well, push and Ghast is probably fine, actually, just because... obs. Bring back the old Bloodghast. And the Wandering Emperor. Okie dokie.
Finally, I'm home.
Well, let's kill that now.
Yes, that's that.
Get another Fable out. Potentially gives me 2 more redraws. They could potentially Verdict here. And they do. Fable number 3. Well, let's discard land and Fatal Push. Harvester. Fable number 3. Obviously, Reflection and Harvester is a very nice little interaction. Interesting. I think I'll keep the Restless Vents here, just because it's actually quite a... it's always good to have creature lands against control decks. And we'll fire off the Reflection, make another blood token. Okay, no second Wandering Emperor. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, looks like they don't have another farewell, so that's good news. I think they're digging for a verdict. Just Kahira. Which we would have killed, so... Good! Okay. What's my anti-control tech against? I don't really have any, to be honest. Go blank is not great. Invoke Despair. Just gets hit by Counterspell. Grafdigger's Cage, Damping Sphere. Yeah, don't really have very much, to be honest. What's Monument to Endurance like against a control deck? It's okay. It's probably better than 2 Fatal Pushes. I think we're reasonably well lined up against this deck, just because the Bloodghasts and the like, they just keep coming back. There's a lot of repeatable effects, Croxer and the like. So provided they don't hit our graveyard, which is always a big if, and because they probably have Rest in Pieces, or Rests in Peace in the graveyard. Yeah, this is alright. Are they likely to have Counterspell here? Probably, so... And if it's No More Lies, I'd rather they didn't hit the Bloodghast. So now no Counterspell on 2. And they're being very aggressive with their marches. They're kind of putting themselves at card disadvantage here for not a huge amount of value, I don't think. So they didn't have a Counterspell on 2, at least for a creature. They might have a Dovin's Veto or something, but I'm going to try and get a Monument to Endurance out under a Counterspell. Just give me some extra value when I start discarding cards, which I will with my blood token. That's fine if that's what they want to do for the turn. A Mountain. Got quite a lot of lands that I wouldn't mind losing here. Which now I can do at the end of their turn, thankfully. So we'll ditch the pathway. I think we'll just draw an extra card here. 2 cards off 1 blood token is pretty good. Meh. Right, let's... Pathway... Play Bloodghast. And do I want to Overlord of the Bale Merc here, or wait? I think it's fine to Overlord. Yep, so it's coming down. And the fact that it doesn't become a creature straight away is actually not unhelpful against a deck that runs lots of Wraths. Put back Fear of Missing Out into our hand. That's another good card for discarding. Oh, it's some aggressive deducing. I kind of dig it. Right, let's have an untapped land that can play around fear of missing out. That's what I'm going to play. Play around No More Lies when I play Fear of Missing Out. Discard Blood Crypt. And draw an extra card. Now, do I want to Fable? I'm anticipating a counterspell here. And if it is No More Lies, they will get to exile my Croxer, which I don't feel is particularly good, so I will Fable. Nope. Okay, well I'm definitely pushing my luck when it comes to rats here, and they may well have like Farewell, which is pretty devastating if they do. Yep. Oh well, there goes all my stuff. Croxer. So I think what I will do here is fire up my Restless Vents. Start getting stuff into the graveyard. Blech. Get your Fields of Ruin away from me. You villain. Suppose it's another card in the graveyard. Well, I did kind of run headlong into that Farewell, so can't complain too much, but I couldn't just sit around and not do anything.
I am the Emperor of Kamigawa, and I will protect my people. Let your
rid of that.
blade do the talking.
It's 4 cards in graveyard, so we are getting there. Hopefully, if I ask nicely, they might kill my Hive and the Eye Tyrant as well.
Guards, to me!
Liliana of the Veil is not the worst. Let's see if we can take down a Wandering Emperor here. Take out Farewell. Control doesn't generally have any way of getting cards back, but it's...
Guess that's it then.
Yeah, I will play Liliana. You never know, they might not have any counter spells. And they don't, just another Emperor. She's kind of fine.
I hope you're ready to lose. My judgment is fine.
Something suspicious is going on. And for once, it's not my fault.
5 cards in graveyard. A 3rd copy of the Wandering Emperor. That fancy. So, Kahira and 1 unknown card. So we can probably get Croxer out if we just get a card in our graveyard. Which I should be able to do with Liliana.
Now you've got my attention.
What is their last card? Yeah, they don't really get anything out of that. So, I'm going to force myself to discard here. Just so I can then
Won't be outsmarting me.
play Croxer. Sadly, I have to exile the Bloodghast. I think it's worth it to have Croxer on the battlefield.
We've got the edge in this fight.
Don't love that.
Knew this was a waste of time.
Yeah, that farewell was too much for us there. I'm not sure there's a huge amount we can do about it, apart from just win quicker. I don't mind this configuration of the deck at all. Maybe I do want a couple of Invoke Despairs, just because they are... They are playing a little bit at sorcery speed, so we might be able to sneak it under a counter spell. It's worth a try. Blech. Don't think I can not keep this hand, unfortunately. Despite it being pretty bad. Let's take that card advantage, I think. The deduce would draw them out of their mulligan. I don't really want another land, if I'm honest. I mean, it's good to get Harvester into play, but... More land. Another blood token. It's... Okay, 2 cards in the graveyard. Not really enough. Play Croxer. Now they could exile it while it's on the stack, but that would cost them 2 cards to do that, plus the one that Crox is making them discard. And they are discarding their March. That is interesting. Just 3 cards in graveyard. Yes. Yeah, I'm kind of fine with this. Because they go down a land source, I get another card in my graveyard, and I get to put Fable into play underneath their counter spells. So actually, I think that worked out pretty well for me. Yeah, and see, now they're digging for land. And I can just stick these 2 lands in the graveyard. Yep. Very good. They misplayed a little there. I think they did need to sacrifice their anchorage. If they kept their march when I played Croxer originally, they could have just marched it instead. Still, I have misplayed myself plenty, so I'm not going to overly criticise them for that. Okay. Well, it was a good couple of games. Let's open some packs. Bloom Burrow. Good. Good, good, good. Good. Yeah, this land is it's one of the better ones because it adds green straight away. If you look at like the blue-red one and the red-white one, they're kind of the wrong way round for those kind of colour combinations. So this one's actually pretty good because it lets you play it and immediately play something like a Llanowar Elf. So yeah, that was Rakdos Aggro. Decent couple of matches there. We kind of saw why Bloodghast is a good card. Our sideboard's got weird again, but you can see the full deck list in the link and at the beginning of the video. Yeah, Bloodghast very, very good. Didn't do a huge amount of attacking, but just the constant like repetition made it very hard for our opponents. Yeah, Croxer was good. Overlord was always good. Yeah, this is a decent collection of cards. It'd be interesting to see whether it can compete with kind of Rakdos proper, which I have my doubts, but we shall see. So yeah, here's the deck list one more time. As I said, it's also in the comments. If you want to see the sideboard properly, let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe, as ever. I'll see you next time.